Good afternoon, duelists. With the YCS Vancouver on its way, I thought we'd go over some regionals from yesterday, and then I'll have a full update on Vancouver once some more of those deck lists come out. But in New Zealand, the regional actually concluded where we have every top 8 deck list, and it's pretty interesting. I actually love the innovation with a lot of these lists, and I haven't seen actually like a pure Scareclaw deck list winning in a while, or actually like just topping or doing well in a while, even at these YCS. Even though Scareclaw is pretty broken, Manadium aside, just like it by itself, I've played it at a YCS round 10. I've played versus it before, and it is actually troublesome. This one's interesting though because they actually don't run the adventure package in the deck, but I do think that it's cool that they're using Revolution Synchron Dragon. I think that card is just like so overpowered, but we haven't actually like found a great way to use it in the TCG because it's like obviously a better glow up bulb. I've said in the past that that card plus Rights is literally Nishiria Beast and Baron just by itself. 2 card combo, pretty insane. But they're pretty much just the only thing that's interesting is like how many go second cards this deck is actually running. So we have 3 Fenrir, which is like kind of a go second card, half and half. But Book of Eclipse, Forbidden Droplet, we have not seen this card in so long. When I first started playing, this card was like $300. Lightning Storm, and 3 Imperms with 2 Thrust, which I would put in the same category as kind of Fenrir. Going first, we're usually going to just set Imperm off it, which is kind of weird. We don't really have that many good cards for going first to set. Maybe like a D Barrier would be cool, but we're only running 2, so I kind of understand that. With the extra deck, we have a small synchro package of only Ancient Fairy, the Visa Starfrost level 8, Crystal Wing, and then we're siding Kurikaras and 5 Bestials and 2 Drew Swarms. We chose not to do Baldrake. The trap card for Scareclaw also on the side for going first, probably for that thrust. But why not just main the card? You know, stuff to think about. But yeah, I thought it was really cool that this deck actually won a regional because it's just been so long. And then second place we have Mikanko. So this regional was crazy, right? We have semi-rogue decks actually doing really well. This Mikanko list played 3 Kaijus, 3 Lava Golems, so that's 6 going second, Lightning Storms with 8 cards going second, then a bunch of equip spells, which is kind of just like with the Mikanko strategy. Obviously, this deck is pretty broken. You know, it has a bounce a card and special summon a +1 equip spell that is just insane, especially when in combination with Bestials. Even though we don't see Bestials in this list, they're obviously doing it with the Kaichus and Lava Golems. Bouncing those cards and equipping the 1 Mikanko spell to it is definitely powerful. We see a Pot of Extravagance, but even though we're running 3 Pot of Extravagance, we actually only have 1-ups in the extra deck, so it's kind of like we're just playing with what we got. But this is kind of weird to me just because, like, obviously we would want to know which Charmer we're going into first, and we can make any Charmer because we're like every attribute, right? But like, why not, and we can take control of their monsters. But like, why not just max out on some of these cards? Like maybe like Appo or Access Code or Downer to Zeus, unless we can't afford it. But just with the Extravagance, I do feel like this is a weird extra deck. Obviously, the Secret Village and Tikaboo for going first to kind of just lock it down. This deck is very powerful at going second. I don't know if you've tried Mikanko's. Last time I tried this deck, I was actually playing it with Tearlament way long ago, like right when it first came out. So I know how powerful this can be. And it's interesting to just see like that the actual deck by itself can actually like do well. Then we got Pearlylist. This Pearlylist is running the Dark Worlds, and what was so cool, this is what made me want to do the video, is this Pearlylist has tried something that I have tested like over and over, and that's the Medora and Keldo and the Pearly main. Because it's just like, why wouldn't you want to like spread your board presence? Just like we did in Tier Laments, we had the Tier Cash or Hobness in hand, we had the Keldo or Medora in the graveyard, and then we had a good-ass board, right? That's what this deck is trying to do. You know, if you draw the Medora or Keldo off your brow, or you just open it, or maybe you draw it off your one-off talents, not really likely. But I do like it. And then we also have Complement. So we have a lot of graveyard control with the DD Crow. 2-of ratios aren't too bad in this deck. Even though he's not running Designator, I do think it like kind of makes sense to run 2-ofs in a deck where you're drawing like perhaps 3 to 6 cards. You really would just have to like rationalize it based off of are you just winning the game anyway when you draw those 6 cards? Because like usually when I play, the nowhere with 5 materials just gets me there. If I've already gotten to the point where I've resolved deep, I'm usually already winning the game. So why would I need to run like two of the hand traps when drawing if I just rather have Ash going second, then I'd probably rather just run 3 Ash. Obviously with Sleepy, it makes sense. We have hard once per turn hand trap effects, so we'd want to spread them out. But I do believe that I'd rather just have the power of 3 of Ash rather than like a 2 of with the 2 of Droll, because one's got to be better than the other. I'd rather have like the better card going second than like maybe I instead of drawing 2 Ash off my Sleepies, I draw 1 Ash and 1 Droll. Like I was already winning the game anyway if we got to that point, right? Especially if they stop my Yeep, then I'm only drawing 2 to 3 cards anyway. That's like kind of a long rant. We see Santa Claus on the side. We have not seen that in a while. Also with the Retaliating Sea, I think Retaliating Sea is kind of a nice card. Maybe the regional had a lot of Chimera, but I would also suggest testing Dimension Shifter, especially with just how powerful Unchained is. I think having that extra Dimension Shifter could push you to the edge to beating them as the Pearly player. It will be interesting to see what Chris's list was, who just topped, because he is the only Pearly player in top 8, and now he's in top 4. So that would definitely be cool to see. And it's crazy that we see more droplets at this New Zealand regional. Like, they really like that card. Then we have a Labyrinth couch list with the 1 of Gamma and the normal monster. I'm pretty sure they have something to resolve with that, and that's the reason they're playing it. But, I mean, Gamma, Ash is so powerful versus deck. You usually don't have monsters turn 1 unless you're doing it, what I would say, right. Because, obviously, if you do, like, the Eradicator or Dimensional Barrier play turn 1, I do think that's the best combo in the deck to utilize. Extra deck, pretty standard extra. Side, 2 Solemns for going first. So they probably thought about their side deck patterns with this deck. They have an Eradicator. I'm not sure what this card is under Droll and Lockbird, but it does look cool. It's a normal trap, right? So that's why they're playing it. Searchable. And then this level 6 Synchro, I'm also curious what it is. If you know, let me know. But yeah, nothing much here. I do think Drama Cannon is such a good card. They're only running 1 and then the 3 strikes. It's interesting to see Ice Barrier, Prison again, and like Punishment. You know, a lot of people have been just like kind of coming off these cards. We don't actually see that many different Labyrinth lists because it hasn't been performing. Like Ryan Yu was the only Labyrinth that topped this last YCS in Vancouver this weekend. And then we have a top 8. So this is Dino S. I wonder if this is the guy that actually played 40 card tier and kind of like was the one who innovated 40 card tier, because that's kind of insane if it is. I know this dude's really good. I really like that tier list from before. But their Manadium list, this is kind of like in line with what I would play if I were playing Manadium. Like I would only run actually, I lied. All right, I thought it was just 3 Meek, but they're actually running this card. I don't really like this card that much in Manadium. Obviously, I'm terrible with names. That's not why I'm saying names. But Phantasme, interesting card that people have been talking about a lot recently, if it's going to pop up again. Personally, I'm not a fan of Phantasme. Maybe in the main it could make sense. I definitely would like it more as a main deck card rather than a side deck card, because it really doesn't have any overlap. So it's really good versus Unchained. Well, it's pretty good versus Unchained. I wouldn't say it's like Dimension Shifter, right? But it's pretty good versus Unchained. But besides that, it has like no overlap. So it would be a kind of relevant card in the side for top cut, because obviously we've seen so many Unchained. It's 9. I think it was 28% of the top 32 was Unchained. So it is interesting in that way. The 2 Magnemite, 1 Druis Worm. I mean, this is just like a crazy deck to me at 42. I feel like the Manadium combos, you're really just trying to combo hard. I feel like this is just like trying to get too lucky, forcing yourself to play all these going second cards. We have the 3 Anti-Spell, which we would just protect. I'm assuming we would just play like kind of more careful going first to just play around the Anti-Spell and protect it. We have the 3 Drools for the Mirror match. The Call By to enable our plays going first because this deck is so powerful. Although I think Designator is definitely warranted in this deck, especially with Droll and Lockbird. But we have seen Droll and Lockbird phase out of the meta more so as of late. Then we have a Kashtira. Anything cool about this Kashtira list? You know, we all love to see a Kashtira list that does something different, but it is such a rare sight to see because this is pretty much the same stuff I've always seen. I mean, it's like Paulie is the first person I think I saw that played 2 econ, like 2 talents, a lot of 2 ofs in his cashier list. We only see 2 encore on the side. I do like that he's siding the cashier trap. I've always thought that is pretty cool, especially with the Labyrinth or even Unchained matchup. You can actually use Ogre with it. So I think I would probably main the trap just because Unchained is so popular. If you're gonna already main Ogre, then I would main the trap. If you aren't, then that's fine. I probably wouldn't main either, but if I were to main one, I would main the other, I think, just because Unchained is so prevalent. And then we got an awesome tier list that also got top 8. You know, I've already said that I think tier actually has potential to be better next set with AGOV because the horse cards give this deck a nice boost, especially when you consider that Maxi is not in the format. It's just another way to pitch your Trivikarma or your Yugioh or your Kelbeck. We see only 2 Diviner. I know a lot of people are like strictly 3 of Diviner. We only see 1 Fenrir. How people feel about Diviner in this deck is how I actually feel about Fenrir. I think Fenrir makes the tier deck so overpowered because I think tier cash is such a great card. It's a good hand trap and it's a good pitch. Milling 2 is better than not milling at all, right? So we see the 1 of Meta Noise in the main deck, so we're not maining Crime, we're just siding it. We have the Scatter Shot for time. We have 1 Talents in the main. A lot of people have been doing 1 Talents lately. I think that's so weird. Yeah, I don't really understand the 1 of Talents. I think 2, or you could say the same logic, I guess, about 2, but I feel like 2 is different from 1. Playing 1 is just like, why? Why even do that? But it does make it so you can't scoop your games, because if that Talents is your 6th card, it might be really relevant and might change the game going second. Because it's like this deck doesn't have many going second cards, right, besides the Kaijus. And then we see a branded Despia, so this is Nesh branded. That's why it's this picture. This is Nesh's icon, I know. It literally says Nesh branded, just so you know. Anything interesting about this deck? I'm sure Nesh has explained this on his channel a lot. I do love the artwork on this Alibur card is so sweet. It's like one of my favorite artworks for the whole archetype. I definitely think it's really cool. But basically just 43 card list. We have 9 non-engine going second if we're excluding the Bestials, because the Bestials are pretty relevant for just the combos of this deck. But obviously if he was playing versus a tier deck, maybe Unchained, they would actually be relevant, but not really going second because most people are saving their Yuma for the following turn. They're not actually using Yuma right away, but it is relevant with that. Extra deck, we got Heavenly Seal, we have Striker Dragon, so we're actually running some links. I think that's really cool. And then we have 1 Phantasme, which is kind of weird to me on the side. 1 Thrust, also kind of weird to me on the side, but you do get 4 D barrier that way if your opponent does hand trap you. We got the 3 of Eclipse, 3 of Evenly, the 1 Feather Duster. Are we maining 1 Talents? No, we're just siding 2 because it's probably our last slots. We have the 1 of the Contact Fusion Monster for branded in the side, which is pretty weird to me. I wonder what he's siding that in against. Probably for the Mirror, I would say, or more of a grindy game. That card seems like it would be better. Alright, and then that's it. So we've went through all the lists. Let me know what you think about this top 8 for New Zealand. Do you think any of these decks actually have merit? Because we did see a lot of Rogue in this, and we didn't actually see 1 Unchained list, if you can believe that. So maybe this regional just didn't have Unchained, or is the regional meta just so different from the YCS meta? Because with the YCS, you can actually go X2 on top. Regional, you have to go X1 or XO. Let me know what you think. But even though they're going XO in Swiss, or they're going XO and top cut to win the YCS, and I think there's 2 to 3 in top 4 right now, including the Pearly, that's Chris. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Have a great day.